You have a decision to make. A simple decision: coffee or tea, what movie to watch, whether to send that text. 5 minutes pass, then 10. And somehow, you're now imagining every possible outcome, comparing alternatives, replaying past mistakes, and questioning your entire life philosophy. If this sounds familiar, congratulations. You might be too smart for your own good. And today, science is going to explain why. Welcome back to Yes Brainer. Most people assume intelligent people make decisions faster. After all, if you're smart, shouldn't you be better at solving problems? Not necessarily. One of the hidden costs of intelligence is that your brain generates more possibilities. For every option, it immediately produces alternatives, and then alternatives to those alternatives, and then reasons why each one might fail. Scientists have found that people who are highly analytical are often better at generating arguments, scenarios, and explanations. The problem is that this doesn't always help them find the best answer. Sometimes it just helps them delay making a choice. Your brain becomes like a very expensive lawyer. It can build a convincing case for almost anything. The issue is that sometimes you don't need a lawyer. You just need to pick a restaurant. And psychologists once conducted a famous experiment in a supermarket. One table offered shoppers 24 different flavors of jam. Another offered only 6. The larger display attracted far more attention. People loved browsing all the options. But when it came time to actually buy something, something surprising happened. The table with only 6 choices dramatically outsold the table with 24. More options created more hesitation, more comparison, more second-guessing, and less action. Think about that. We spend our lives believing that more choices mean more freedom, but often they just create more opportunities to overthink. And if you're naturally intelligent and analytical, your brain creates extra choices all by itself. Most people see 6 possibilities. You somehow find 47. At that point, you're no longer choosing jam. You're conducting a market analysis. Neuroscientists have identified something called the default mode network. It's a system in the brain that becomes active when you're not focused on a specific task. When you're daydreaming, planning, reflecting, imagining future scenarios, replaying conversations from 3 years ago. Normal activities. For many overthinkers, this network is extremely active. One thought triggers another. One memory creates a new possibility. One possibility creates 5 more. It's like having 47 browser tabs open at the same time, and one of them is playing music, but you can't figure out which one. Your brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it meant to do: predict, prepare, anticipate. The problem is that modern life gives it an endless supply of things to analyze, and your brain happily accepts the challenge. Here's where intelligent people often get stuck. They don't just want a good decision, they want the best decision, the perfect decision, the decision that eliminates all risk and guarantees success. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. Albert Einstein reportedly wore nearly identical outfits every day, not because he didn't care about clothes, but because he didn't want to waste mental energy on trivial decisions. He understood something that many overthinkers forget. Mental energy is limited. Every decision costs something. And if you spend 30 minutes deciding what to watch on Netflix, that's 30 minutes you'll never get back. The same thing happens with emails. Most people write an email and send it. Overthinkers write a draft. Edit it. Read it again. Change 3 words. Delete a sentence. Wonder if the tone sounds weird. Add an emoji. Remove the emoji. Read the whole thing one more time, and finally send it with, "Sorry for the late reply," even though they replied the same day. The search for perfection often creates more stress than the decision itself. The good news is that you don't need to become less intelligent. You just need a better relationship with uncertainty. One useful technique is to ask yourself 3 simple questions. Will this matter in 10 minutes? Will it matter in 10 months? Will it matter in 10 years? Most decisions fail. That test surprisingly fast. Another strategy is setting a deadline. Give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever makes sense. Then decide. Because there comes a point where you're no longer gathering information, you're just delaying the decision, and finally, stop chasing the perfect option. Research consistently shows that people who are satisfied with a good enough choice tend to be happier than people who spend their lives searching for the absolute best one. Perfection is the enemy of done. And your brain? Your brain is perfection's best friend and done's worst nightmare. Here's the irony. The same brain that causes you to overthink is also the brain that helps you learn faster, solve problems, see patterns, and imagine possibilities that other people never notice. Your greatest strength and your greatest frustration often come from the exact same place. The goal isn't to think less. The goal is to know when thinking has stopped being useful. Because eventually there comes a point where you're not gaining clarity anymore. You're just running laps inside your own head. And if you've spent this entire video wondering whether this description applies to you, well, you probably already know the answer. Now stop overthinking whether to subscribe. You've analyzed enough. Click the button.